But you think you'd like a little control to make sure that some of the stuff that shows you in your best light would be in there.
I wish I could. I wish I could put a highlight package in and erase all the tab plays. Yeah. Of course.
You think the guy who's the one guy in the organization who had a grudge against you putting this thing together?
I got a lot of grudges against me. I was really brash. I was really outspoken in my first 5 years. Do I wish I could take it back? Of course, but that's how I matured throughout the NFL. I was a little brash, a little bit outspoken, but at the same time, I got humbled one time in my career, especially when I came down here. Thank God Rod Marinelli was down here. I think you all knew who Rod Marinelli is. He's one of the most famous defensive line coaches to ever have graced the NFL. So I was able and fortunate to come down here and go under his tutelage, and he made me that much better of a person and a man.
But when he went to the Lions, he didn't do real well.
Well, that's not his fault. He also had Matt Millen as the general manager.
Matt Millen, yeah.
That was a mistake in the making.
Yeah, the Matt Millen syndrome.
Of course, you met Jamie, too, and that really helped.
My savior. I met my wife, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. I was in my second week in Tampa. She's so beautiful. I was in my second week in Tampa. I was at a country bar.
Select Magazine.
Oh, Select Magazine?
Yeah, did a featured story a couple years ago on Chris and Jamie.
And we had met at a country bar, and I was instantly gravitated toward her for some reason, and I fell in love on the spot. I had to have her. I wouldn't let anybody else talk to her, and she was mine from the get-go, and still maturing to a point, and she stuck with me, and she's my savior.
Chris, as a precursor to looking at what's happening with the draft, your perspective on what's happening in terms of the lockout, it almost to me seems like a tennis match now, and it's not being played by either side in the courts, and all we can do is kind of look at one side, get the advantage, goes over to the other side of the net. Where do you see it from your perspective?
Well, it's a constant battle, like you said. $9 billion is a lot of money, and we're having trouble right now distributing the revenue. And it seems as though it's 32 owners and a commissioner against the players and all the fans throughout the world. And we're having a tough time with it. We've won 2 appeals. We won 1, and we won 2 actually in the Minnesota district courts. And now it's going to be appealed to the St. Louis district courts. And it seems that whatever the ruling is, either side is going to have an appeal. Right. What we have to do is come to an agreement. We have to come to an agreement because the court systems can only do so much, but in the end, it's got to be a mutual agreement between 2 sides for the best of the game.
I think so. It says here that Cam Newton was drafted first. What a surprise.
Yeah, it is a surprise.
Who do you play for?
He played for Auburn.
Yeah, he was the player of the year at Auburn, Heisman Trophy winner, and played 1 year actually. He was at Florida, and he was supposed to be the heir apparent to Tim Tebow.
Right. But
it didn't work out in Florida. He transferred to Auburn, had to sit out a year, and play actually 1 year of football, and now he's the #1 pick.
That's right. Carolina, it says here, took him. The Carolina Panthers, so that...
And the Bills just took Marcel Darius, the defensive tackle out of Alabama. And, the draft's going a lot quicker than it used to be. It used to be 15 minutes to choose each pick. Now it's 10 minutes. So I think that's great for the fans is get these picks out of the way, especially with the draft starting in prime time now, guys.
That's right. Yeah, here they are right here with us. I thought that
the phone numbers to call.
There's an article that I just read a couple days ago that said the importance of running backs in the draft is diminished because with the 2-back system, they're going back to gravitating to say you got to have that solid line and saying it's a tandem thing versus the star running back being right up there. Is that something that you've seen?
Well, a lot of teams are going to 2 backs now, and even 3 backs because this is a game of attrition, guys.
Is it just too punishing for one guy to carry the load?
It is. It doesn't go back to the days of Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders where they just carried the load all the time. Now you're seeing 2-back, 3-backs because we rotate as defensive linemen, so that concept is getting into the owners' heads and the coaches' heads where they're saying, okay, why have 1 back when I can bring another fresh back in and we can keep the rotation and not miss a beat. And that's what a lot of teams are going to that philosophy nowadays. In a pass-happy league, guys. I mean, if you look at the playoffs, you saw Aaron Rodgers just gunslinging the ball and making a name for himself. And he's a Super Bowl MVP. So you're seeing the quarterbacks. We should see a run at quarterbacks right now. The second pick was Devon Miller, the outstanding outside linebacker at Texas A&M. Marcel Darius went to the Buffalo Bills, and then the Cincinnati Bengals just took A.J. Green, the wide receiver, the vertical threat out of Georgia. So you're seeing a lot of impact players taken in the first 4 picks.
Right, and you were saying the Cincinnati Bengals need a lot of
The
help.
Bungles?
Yeah, the Bungles, right. Those bagels.
What
yeah.
was the player that there was talk about somebody who was a quarterback with red hair? You hear about that one?
Red
That
hair.
is the most... I think it's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I have right here, and I'm taking offense to this.
I
right
know.
now.
Yeah.
I know. I heard it on. There was another sports show I was listening to out of Cincinnati on that big 50,000-watt station, WLW, and that's what they were talking about the other
Yes, they
night.
were.
It's Andy Dalton, the quarterback out of TCU, and it's gotten down to where it's so meticulous. They're starting to grade guys in their hair color. I mean, come on, guys. I mean,
Serious?
give it a break. If I thought it was Andy Dalton, I'd just go to the hair salon, just dye my hair blonde, and say, look, you got to pick me now.
Yeah, you got a blonde now. It's like Donald Trump.
Go ahead, give your phone numbers out tonight if you'd like to talk on sports.
Yeah, do that,
Call
Bill.
you guys.
Let's give it, Bill. It's 727-441-3000 or 1-866-826-1340. That'll save you some money if you call that one. So give us a call. We have Chris Hovan here this evening.
Chris, I'm curious to get your feelings about having worked with some football teams when I was at NFL Films.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear a lot about this, but in terms of the hierarchy of intelligence that you see, and of course there's smart guys in all the positions, but what is your hierarchy in terms of a team, in terms of groups? The groups tend to fall into, I think, certain personality patterns and skill levels in terms of cognitive ability and so forth. Where would you put a team? And in terms of the draft, who would you be looking at in terms of that type of equality?
Are you talking about impact players right from the get-go?
I'm talking about impact players, but also in terms of the guys. Who are the bright guys on the team? I think it falls into groups, doesn't it?
No, it has to. I mean, I think that, the brightest guy on your team has to be the quarterback. He's the general of your team. The way a lot of the teams are going nowadays, they're putting the full game plans in these quarterbacks' hands. I mean, they're giving them such freedom at the line of scrimmage. I mean, if Peyton Manning can do it, if Tom Brady can do it, Drew Brees can do it, that's the type of philosophy that they're instilling in these guys. They want to be able to have these guys so smart that they're connecting with the coach. The coach doesn't have to say anything to them. You come out to the sideline, you look at the little photos that you have to look at, and you should automatically know what you did wrong, know what you did right, see what the fronts are, see what the coverages are, and be able to adjust on the fly. And that's why personnel wants such smart players, high character players too. They don't want a lot of guys getting in trouble. If you look since the lockout, I think 16 or 20 guys have gotten arrested. Brandon Marshall just got stabbed in Miami. So another guy, the defensive end from the Broncos, just got stabbed the other day. And it seems like the league's running amok because we don't have a collective bargaining agreement. These guys need babysitters. They're 25, they're 29 years old, and they need babysitters. They have millions of dollars, and they don't know what to do with it in their free time.
What about this young guy right here? Did you see this guy, Ohio lineman Marcellus Williams?
Ohio, no, for the third pick or the fourth, what pick is this?
He was Ohio University. He was confirmed that defensive lineman Marcellus Williams, 22, died Wednesday afternoon of undetermined causes after visiting the Cleveland area hospital near his hometown.
Undetermined causes.
That's just really sad.
Had 84 total tackles and 10 tackles for losses.
That's sad that a young man has to die at that young of an age.
327 pounds, 6'1".
Oh my gosh! Doesn't that just break your heart, guys? I mean, outside of football, we put such emphasis on football, right, guys? I mean, because we love the sport. This is America's game, but these are human beings as well, and in the bigger picture of life, I mean, no one should die at that age. I mean, that's so disheartening, man. I mean, I lost a friend in Gaines Adams. He died.
That's
he
right.
died at 25 years old because of heart complications. Yeah. And that just broke my heart. I mean, we went to the funeral, and I still haven't gotten over it, guys.
Are you in this draft by any chance? Can your name come up in this?
No, I'm too old. Now I get to be an analyst. I'm a colleague of yours, guys.
Well, since you hung out in Oldsmar, did you ever hang out with the Big Show? Big Show hangs out in Oldsmar.
I know Paul Wright very well. I know a lot of wrestlers. A lot of wrestlers are good friends of mine. When we used to live in South Tampa, they had the FCW, which is the Florida Championship Wrestling. I know Steve Kern, who runs it and teaches the guys, and I've been able to meet guys like John Cena and Triple H, and I know the Undertaker personally. I'm good friends with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, don't he live in Dunedin, the Undertaker?
No, he lives in Texas.
Well, I thought because he used to come in his bowling alley I used to work at over in Dunedin.
John Cena lives in Land O'Lakes. Batista lives up. I think he lives in not Avila. What's the other one?
I can't remember.
The one off Dale Mabry, Cheval. I think Batista lives in Cheval. A lot of the wrestlers live in Florida because Tampa is the easiest airport to get in and out. And if you're a wrestler, you're traveling 250 days a year. So you want convenience. And a lot of wrestlers like Edge has moved down here. I think you know who Adam Copeland is. He just retired. But Tampa is the easiest place to get in and out, and that's where a lot of wrestlers make it home.
If there was a coaching job if the Buccaneers offered you a coaching job, would you accept it right as a snap of a finger?
Of course I would.
Excellent. I vote. Give him a bell for.
There you go. I mean, we got a real ball give him here tonight because you've taken on.
I think I'm going to start a little smaller. I think you guys know I'm coaching at Chamberlain High School right now.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, in the off season right now, there's really not much happening with the lockout. You really can't go to the facilities. You really can't do anything right now. So I'm keeping myself busy. That way I stay out of trouble. I tell everybody.
That's it.
That was on and off again.
Ain't that the high school where that 22-year-old girl you say is like on Maximum Magazine or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, you mean the one that was on Maxim Magazine last month?
Yeah,
sure. She went to Gaither High School.
Oh, Gaither, not Chamberlain.
Oh, Gaither.
Yeah,
that's right down the street from me.
Yeah, that was the actress who was on American Dreams.
What are some big charity events that Mr. Hovan is doing or coming up?
Well, my wife is on the board of the Pediatric Cancer Foundation. We deal with the Campagnones, and they put a great fishing tournament on every year. And all the proceeds go to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation, and they put a big event down by West Shore. And they have the trifecta fishing tournament. So you got the redfish, you have the snook, and I think it's redfish, snook, and what's the other one? Oh, trout. So they try to get all the big fish, and I always lose, guys, and it's very disheartening at the end. But at least it's for charity, right?
Well, there you go. That's for charity.
What about up here? What about up here near Cleveland, Ohio, and Pittsburgh area? Do you know of any charity events, fishing events that occur up here?
Not so much, because we've made Tampa our home base. My wife grew up in Valrico. Where else did you live, June?
Right in South Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah, we're right inside South Tampa.
Sorry for being so hot.
Wave to the camera.
Sorry for being so hot in there. Sorry for it being so hot in there, Mr. Hovan.
Mother-in-law here.
Yeah. Everybody trying to talk at one time. I said, sorry for it being so hot in there.
One of the things I always sweat. People are like, why do you sweat so much? I'm like, my metabolism's always working.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like that myself.